Hey everyone, how's it going? Memory here. We're going to be talking about episode number 8 of Orange. And Orange is a series that either just leaves you with the biggest smile on your face or it just leaves you with your heart ripped out of your chest. Not literally, but it feels like that, honestly, because we've had many episodes that have done both, and many episodes that have done one or the other. And I think this episode right here was one that definitely left us off with a smile. It was smiles all around for this episode, at least for me, honestly. And I know I've been saying it like every week. Like last week, I was like, oh, episode 7, my favorite episode so far. Episode 6, my favorite episode so far. But that's really how it goes. Like the anime's been getting better and better and better, especially with how it's been adapted by Telecom perfectly, pretty much to a T. It's been awesome. That's how the manga is. It gets better and better and better. There is something though I am kind of worried about that I will talk about in a second. But this was another great episode of Orange, honestly. And I don't know how many of you were actually expecting what happened to happen at the end of this episode, like with the letters and our whole main cast having letters, besides Kakeru, of course, because I know I was seeing and hearing, I saw a lot of people's reviews, a lot of people's thoughts on Twitter. They were like, I think Sue was going to be the only one to get a letter. But no, it turns out that actually everyone has letters besides Kakeru, of course. So let me know down in the comments, were you expecting that to happen? Did you kind of have that in the back of your mind like it was a possibility, or did you just totally say, I think Sue was going to be the only one who's going to get a letter? But now the thing I wanted to talk about regarding the manga real quick, before we actually get into like what went on in this episode. I did kind of talk about what happened in this episode already, but I just want to talk about this briefly real quick. So this episode of Orange, episode 8, adapted chapters 11 and 12, and it finished this thing right here, collection 1, as you can see. And we have 5 episodes left, and 9 through 13, and they still need to adapt collection 2 right here. Now granted, there is like a little 5-chapter story at the end of this, but still, this is pretty thick, you know. I don't pretty sure they're going to have to rush some things, or maybe they have something planned for after the series. I honestly don't know, but they still do have a lot to adapt in 5 episodes, and they just adapted this in 8 episodes. So I don't know. I'm kind of nervous, but we'll see. I mean, Telecom has done a great job with it so far, so I have all the hope in them that they will do it right and they won't screw it up. We'll see. That's for the future. But this episode of Orange, as I already talked about, at the end, we had the ending scene there where everyone we now know has letters besides Kakeru. And besides that, in this episode, which that scene right there was golden, it felt right, it was perfect. There wasn't really any music playing in that scene. I would have liked there maybe to have been some music, but it wasn't that bad at all. It was honestly a golden, perfect moment. But the music used throughout this episode and throughout this series has been incredible. I cannot say that enough. I've said it in like every review and every episode reaction, honestly, because it's just been that fucking good. And I need to get the soundtrack whenever it comes out. I need to find it. I need to buy it. If I have to get it from Japan or something, I need to, because it's so damn good and it just fits so many of the scenes so right. It really does. But the other thing we had besides that ending scene there, which was one of the big things, the other big thing we had in this was really the build up for the relay race, which is going to be next week. And I cannot wait to see that come to life. Like, I love seeing this whole series come to life, but that relay race is going to be fantastic. One of my favorite moments in Orange as a whole. I wouldn't say my favorite overall. Maybe my favorite now that I'm thinking about it. But definitely my top 3, I could tell you for sure. One of my top 3 moments in Orange. And just seeing everyone in the classroom, because we saw the other students who we don't really care about, honestly. They were all like, oh, we don't want to do this. Why would we have to do this? With Kakeru as the anchor, of course, because he had like the fastest time trial. He had like the fastest time or whatever in the time trials. I don't remember what the hell it was, but he had the fastest time. So he's the anchor. And all these other students just really weren't feeling it. They didn't want to do it, or they wanted to do another event. So actually, Takaku, Azu, and the others take it upon themselves to go and talk to these students and ask if they can actually take their spots in the relay race. And they go to the teacher about this in class. They literally like stop class to talk about the relay race. And each one by one, I think it was Takako stood up first and she was like, I want to be in the relay race with Kakeru. Then it was Azu. She said it as well. Suwa, Naho, and Hagito was last, but it was funny because Hagito was like this, and Azu was like poking him and like, Hagito, do it, say it, stand up, say something, and Hagito finally does. So Hagito was the last one, but our whole main cast is going to be running together in this relay race, and it is going to be golden next week. I cannot wait to see that. Going totally against the letter. One bit of that relay race is not mentioned in the letter at all. So we're totally going away from it, and we're just doing now, even what Naho said. She said, we're doing now what they think and what she thinks is going to make Kakeru the happiest in it. And that's what they're doing. So I cannot wait for the relay race next week. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, I did save this for last on purpose, excuse me. But Naho, is it just me? I think a lot of us have said this and noticed this throughout the series, but she probably seemed the most dense in this episode. Like, she has some dumb moments. Like, I am not even kidding. Kakeru held out his hand twice in this episode. And in my reaction, I'm like, what are you doing? Just hold his fucking hand. Like, are you that dumb? Like, Kakeru's holding out his hand like this. Literally, 2 or 3 scenes in this episode, and Naho's like, what's wrong? What's wrong, Kakeru? Like, what are you doing? He wants you to hold his hand. And the others laugh at her on the roof, and they're like, he probably just wanted you to hold his hand. Like, that was great. But, I mean, Naho probably had her dumbest moment in this episode. I kind of just wanted to save that for last. But, yeah, I think that about does it. This was another beautiful, my favorite episode of Orange so far. I'm going to say that next week, and probably for all the episodes that are left to come, honestly, because it just keeps getting better and better and better. And that's the type of series Orange is. And definitely let me know what you all thought of this episode. Let me know what you thought about the last scene there. Did you really expect everyone to have a letter or no? And that's really the question I'm going to leave you all with. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Peace out. Oh yeah, and you see this guy right here, Hagita? He's a fucking legend.